In May of 2025, Nintendo quietly updated its Switch 2 end-user license agreement. This new license adds a stark warning. If you break the rules, for example by using unauthorized games or hardware hacks, Nintendo may render the console and/or the software permanently unusable in whole or in part. In other words, Nintendo explicitly reserves the right to brick your Switch 2. Nintendo's update forbids copying or tampering with the system's software in unlicensed games, and it warns of severe consequences. In the US version of EULA, Nintendo explicitly says it could render the device permanently unusable. If you violate the terms, you acknowledge that if you fail to comply, Nintendo may render the Nintendo account services and/or applicable Nintendo device permanently unusable. Unauthorized use can simply make the digital product become unusable, i.e., disable the game or online services, but under no circumstances could they block or break the console. The new EULA now outlines Nintendo's ability to break your device, or disable some functions, as punishment. None of this is entirely new for Nintendo, though. Other consoles carried similar clauses. For example, the Wii U license warned that after updates, any unauthorized hardware or software will render the system permanently unplayable. Likewise, the 3DS/XL EULA said an updated, modded 3DS will render the system permanently unplayable. Even the original Switch explicitly said that installing updates could make any console with hacks permanently unusable. In short, Nintendo has treated its hardware as licensed, not sold, giving itself the power to kill modified systems via software updates or account bans. In practice, Nintendo has enforced these rules harshly. Homebrew communities know that any hacked Switch risks a network ban. In fact, Nintendo routinely bans consoles found running pirated or unauthorized games from accessing its online services. It also takes legal action. For example, in 2024, Nintendo sued the developers of Yuzu Switch Emulator, winning a $2.4 million settlement and forcing Yuzu to shut down. These moves show Nintendo's long-standing platform control strategy. Use updates, legal power, and account rules to lock down its ecosystem. How does this compare to industry norms? Other console makers also forbid unauthorized copying, but typically stop at network bans rather than hardware bricking. Sony's PSM terms and conditions say that for serious breaches, it may suspend your PlayStation console from accessing PSN. Microsoft likewise notes that under extreme violations, it can ban a device from Xbox Live. But neither Sony nor Microsoft boast a literal bricking of a console. They focus on disabling online features or accounts. Nintendo's new language is notably tougher, though it echoes through its past EULAs. In summary, Nintendo's 2025 Switch 2 EULA update makes explicit what older agreements hinted at. Break the rules and Nintendo can cut off or even disable your system. The US version lets Nintendo render the console permanently unusable for piracy and hacking, whereas the European law limits it to just disabling games. Historically, Nintendo has always enforced tight platform control through bans, content takedowns, and EULA clauses. In practice, this keeps Nintendo aligned with its own strict policies, even if it stands out as weird compared to rivals, account-based enforcement. Hey, thanks for watching. Sorry this video was so stern, it was just a lot to get through. Have a good day, bye, please subscribe.